Hi guys, so let's stick to the glossary of terms that I'm trying to make more clear to you in this current series of videos. Today I want to talk to you about what I call the transmutation of judgment. The transmutation of judgment is a term that I've used before in my videos, and it is certainly present in my current NI book as well. So it's important that we look at it in a bit more detail. Now, of course, you might ask me, well, my book is going to be on introverted intuition, so why would I talk about judgment? Well, of course, because the psyche is a holism, the psyche is a whole organism, so it doesn't really make sense to speak of NI in isolation. My book is mostly focused on NI, that's true, but I talk about the whole personality, so I also talk about the interaction between NI and the other functions. If you have, for example, a dominant introverted intuitive kind of personality, you have functions of judgment. You have functions of judgment in the second and third slot, more specifically. So for an INFJ, it's FETI. For an INTJ, it's TEFI. Now, so judgment has very much a role to play in the life of the INFJ and in the life of the INTJ, okay? And the transmutation of judgment is, in the way that I understand the functions of judgment, as the function of judgments playing a role in translating the language of introverted intuition, which is a language of introverted perception. It's a language that is quite unconscious and made of ciphers, into the language of everyday experience, not only in terms of communication, but also in terms of pragmatic action, in terms of decision making, in terms of justification, in terms of everything that make us agents in the world, that are able to act in the world, be effective in the world, to operate. If you like, the functions of judgment are functions of operationalization in this sense. And what they do, if we return to this notion of cipher, is that they turn, in my own words, transmute the fantasies, the NI fantasies with PH, which are not accessible to consciousness, but immensely influential over the course of the life of an NI dominant. They translate them into signs. Signs being the units of meaning that we can operate with in the everyday world. Okay? So words are the best example, at least words insofar as they refer to things in the world, right? Ciphers don't do that. They refer to things in the unconscious. Signs refer to things in the world. Ciphers refer to things in the unconscious. Is a kind of useful distinction, even if it's a little bit simplified. So I want to give you an example, because again, I think examples are very useful. So you remember that in the last video, to illustrate a cipher, I used the example of a Freudian slip where the friend said to her soon-to-be married friend, "I can't wait to attend your funeral," instead of "I can't wait to attend your wedding. I can't wait to be at your wedding." The word funeral does not refer to an actual funeral in the way that the word wedding would refer to the actual wedding that's about to take place. What is the case here is that funeral is referring to something in the unconscious, namely the hostility, the hostile feelings, the envy and the jealousy, probably aggressive feelings that the friend feels, because maybe, she would like to be the one who has found love and is to be married, something like that. So in this sense, what we can say, and this is going to make you understand quite quickly, I hope, this transmutation of judgment, transmutation by judgment of unconscious fantasy, is that a Freudian slip, like the one I just mentioned, is precisely, it's like a short-circuiting of the system. It's a failure of the functions of judgment. If the functions of judgment had functioned properly, the friend would have said, "I cannot wait to attend your wedding." Is this true? Is this not true? Well, from the point of view of consciousness, it's true. From the point of view, the deeper point of view, the unconscious, is not true. The friend would be, what she would be doing in psychoanalytic language is utilize an ego defense mechanism called reaction formation, where we say things for the purpose of adaptation, which, remember, is the core aim of judgment, make us adaptable and adapted to external reality. So in the name of adaptation, change a particular kind of unconscious feeling or striving into its opposite. If the original striving, the original fantasy, is not aligned with adaptation, such as I want to kill my friend, or I want my friend to die. Right? So that's a very well-known kind of defense mechanism for psychologists. Reaction formation exists everywhere, and we all do it to various degrees. This is in response of the demands of what we call the superego, that agency within the self that regulates morality insofar as morality that is the kind of morality that preserves adaptation. Do's and don'ts, shoulds and shouldn'ts, principles, norms, behaviors, rules. Okay? It is not nice to say that you want to kill your friend or that you want your friend to die. The slip bypass that in a short-circuiting that often happens when we are less vigilant, when we are less focused, but maybe because we're tired or we're inebriated or we're under the influence in some other way, right? Now, just wait a second. Someone is being quite loud in the background. So what I want to say is, this is a failure of transmutation. What you get in the Freudian slip is actually a not very diluted fantasy with PH that you can quickly interpret as that. Okay? The superego has a function of censoring. It censors, represses within the unconscious those contents that are not acceptable. And by the way, these contents are often the shadow contents. You could actually argue that in this case, the funeral refers to a shadow content. Makes sense because the shadow is made of ciphers and is deep within the unconscious. But sometimes what gives the best look into these fantasy dynamics are not dreams, but just Freudian slips, if you know how to interpret them. Okay? So if judgment had worked well, it would have turned, right? If judgment had worked well, it would have turned its the ciphers into signs, and they would have all have referred to polite external situations in the world. Okay, so hopefully that was useful, guys. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to support me on Patreon. I benefit from your support immensely and more than you realize. The link to my Patreon is below. You can give a few bucks a month or a few bucks a year. Whatever you give is so helpful to me. You keep me going, so thank you for that. You get access to some super cool perks like a whole library of exclusive contents, as well as access to our Discord server. Come hang out with us on the Fourfold, and see you tomorrow, guys. The link to my Patreon is below. Don't forget my 2 books on the INFJ are linked below, on the internal life of the INFJ, the Ecstatic Soul, and the external life of the INFJ, the Infinite Soul. Essential readings for anyone interested in the INFJ personality. See you soon, guys.